Welcome to the Bostics, starring Lauren Bostic and Michael Bostic. Together, they are the Bostics.
You raised Jake and Logan Paul, which means you either deserve a medal or a very long vacation. I genuinely, though, and Michael does too, need to understand what was happening in that house when they grew up in Ohio, when you look back.
Very different from the way it looks now. And I think I do deserve a very long vacation, private jet, fly me somewhere, and treat me, boys, if you're listening. I don't need a medal. We got one of those a couple weeks ago. I should say we, but Utah. It was a very active household, but keep in mind, Greg and I divorced, that's their dad, when they were like 5 and 7. So at my house, it was much more calm and serene than it was at his house. It was very full of testosterone. However, when they started picking up that camera and making really funny videos, which I thought were hilarious, that's when it started to get a little bit wild and doing crazy things like jumping out of windows and riding their bikes off picnic tables and just making chaos. And I just let them do it.
As parents, we want to know how you were able to encourage their talent at such a young age and like almost water it. Because you seem to have done a really good job at that.
Because I let them be who they wanted to be. And I didn't let any fear, and this kind of goes throughout the theme of the last 12 years or so, is I couldn't let my fear get in the way of them doing what they need to do. And it still happens today. Like, I don't know, driving, razors off razor jumps. And it is terrifying, but I trust in God and my faith. And I just have to keep that in the forefront. And so that's kind of how it was. Like you say, watering, I like that, is just letting them be their creative self and not getting in the way, I guess.
When is the first time that you remember them picking up that camera? And was there like a shift or an epiphany with it?
So they were like 10 and 12. They were both playing sports, mostly football. And their dad will say he bought the camera. I say I did.
Who really bought it, Pam?
I did. But I think he ended up getting one right away, too, because they're going back and forth house to house, right? So, they're 10 and 12. Are they going to remember the camera every single time? And that wasn't all they did either. So I think that he ended up buying one as well. But I know my dad gave us, when we were married, one of those big camcorders, and we filmed their births, which was unusual. Like back in those days, or like 29, 31 years.
You let your husband film it up close and personal.
We had the nurse helped us too.
They put everything on YouTube. Let's put the birth on there.
Yeah, but we see, so it's in Paul American a little bit. And what's funny is they didn't realize it. Well, Logan did, I think, but Jake didn't realize that his birth was on camera until Paul American. I had given, Paul American a bunch of video, and there it was. And he's like, this makes perfect sense. I was born on camera. And he was just dumbfounded, like almost to a little bit tears. And why didn't you tell me? But I digress a little bit. So when they started doing fun things, it was like, okay, well, that's keeping you off the video games, out of, maybe some big trouble that they could have gotten in. And I just thought it was really creative. But I had no idea this was going to go anywhere. They did start their own little YouTube channel. They followed Smosh, Ridiculousness, and the MTV stuff. And which I just, rolled my eyes at. But when my kids did it, I thought it was funny. But then they got into their sports in high school, and they put that camera pretty much aside for those years. And then when Vine came out, do you remember the Vine 6-second videos, right? Those were just so fun and creative. And I really loved, because I don't think a creative person at all. I've learned a little bit through them, but I'm not really. And so they were Jake was a junior and Logan had just graduated, and they they started doing the Vines. And then that's kind of when I knew, like, this is becoming like a passion for them. I still didn't know it'd be a career, but they went viral and they're making money. What am I going to say?
It's so interesting to me that you say you're not creative, because the cover to me of the book is very creative. And I mean, you must be creative to raise children that are so exceptional.
I would say again that I'm kind of blessed. I say that a lot. I'm blessed. What I am is really supportive. I'm that really supportive parent in the background that you want to do this? Okay, let's do this. You want to spill wine on your new bed because it's a funny video? Okay, let's do it. Most parents would not do that. And they say no a lot. I think where I said yes a lot. And I think their dad did that too. Creativity, again, has been learned. For me, I've learned it through watching them. And everyone asked me, why did you name the book F the Pauls? And I've learned how to use clickbait, because that's what I vlogged for a year too, right? And Logan said to me, Mom, you can't name this book something boring. You just can't do it. And he was like pacing in his kitchen and he's like, I got it. I'm like, what? He's like, F the Pauls. And I almost fainted. Like, I can't put that on a book cover. And then so I'm like, let's soften it. And then I started to realize I could soften it with written by their mother, but we are in that era of people yelling F the Pauls, like literally saying F the Pauls, and us being able to now laugh at that, and the boys spinning that narrative off into their multi-million-dollar businesses.
It's so funny. We were talking and we prep for all these shows and talk amongst ourselves and with the team. And we were talking about your family in particular. And what I was pointing out, I was like, for whatever reason, you guys have been at the center of a lot of criticism. But if you look at the careers, the boys have done a relative, like they've not really had real, I don't see them harming people. I don't see them having bad messages. Clearly they're both athletes. I mean, Logan, they both boxed two of the most famous and proficient boxers in the history of the world,
right?
And are able to do that. Like whenever I see them boxing, and I grew up boxing a little bit, I'm like, no, those two they can fight. Your sons can fight.
They're
right.
also in long-term relationships.
Yeah, they're both in relationships. One as a kid, and so where do you think a lot of that criticism comes from? Do you think it's fair? Do you think it's been warranted at times? Do you think some of it's just unfair, maybe from success? Like, what do you think that comes from? Is it intentional?
I think you nailed it, every piece of it, honestly. First of all, they have warranted some attention by doing some, strange, crazy things.
Clickbaity things.
That too, but when they have done the things that they have warranted some criticism, it wasn't intentionally meant.
When they've owned up to it.
To hurt people, and they owned up to it, and they suffered the consequences of it. And they paused, and they learned, and they found out how to be better. A lot of people would have run the other direction and just went back home with their tail between their legs, and they just didn't do that. They learned how to grow and be better and reinvent themselves continually. So yes, some of the criticism was warranted. To the degree, absolutely not. I will stand up to that. I don't care what they've done. They do not deserve the degree of criticism, and it continues today. Like most of it, they can perpetuate it too. Kind of what you said. Do they like play into it? Absolutely. Jake's got the necklace, F the Pauls. It's all diamonds.
Well, listen, I grew up like as a huge WWF before it was WWE fan.
Yes.
And there are such a thing as a heel.
Yes.
Where you got to learn how to do, so like there is playing to the crowd and the camera.
Logan is totally the heel. He walks out in Cleveland and calls everybody a bunch of blah, 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 like things that make me go.
Do you know what the heel is, Lauren?
I don't know what the heel is.
Well, it's in wrestling. There's got to be a good guy and a bad guy. Like at sometimes The Rock was a good guy, sometimes he was a bad guy, right? And so you got to learn to play.
Like I like that in a marriage too.
A lot of people forget.
I'd like a heel.
Yeah,
but a lot of people forget.
He's the heel.
You're the heel.
The Rock started his career as being the heel.
Right.
Like he was the guy. Now he's one of the biggest movie stars in the world. And so, yeah, I asked that because I wondered from your perspective that, but also how you managed that as a family and also as a mother when people are talking poorly about your children.
It's
'Cause I don't know-
really hard.
Yeah.
It's really hard to navigate that. Again, they teach me. I have had to follow their lead with that because as a mama bear, and I can be a mama bear, like to the point of I will punch your face if I think it's warranted. I have done that. But it's when you're going to hurt my kids, not because you're saying something mean. But I feel that it is really difficult to handle that. You just have to realize where it's coming from. So one of your questions, I think, it was like, how do I deal with that hate? I have to go internally and realize it's coming from people that are sitting behind keyboards. They have no idea who my kids are. I know who they are, and that's really all that matters, is that the people around them and the people that matter and love them know who they are, because they are not who they are portrayed online much of the time. And I do write in the book, at the end, I thought, well, this is a little egotistical, but I did want to end it because there is a lot of negative of what we've been through, their experiences, my experiences, their mom, lawsuits, FBI, all that stuff. And I, at the end of the book, wrote out literally all their accolades. And since this book has come out, there's like a whole nother, list for both of them. And those are the things, that's boring news. Would you rather see a headline that says, Jake saved animals on the side of the road or the FBI was at his house? Who's going to look at that? And that I hate to say this, but a lot of it does come from jealousy from people.
Well, I guess, the reason I wanted to ask that is we have done this show and have put ourselves out in a public lane, not to the same degree for a long time. And so I'm always a bit sympathetic to people who put themselves out there and catch flack that we deem to be maybe unfair at times.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I think, listen, it comes with the territory. Everybody that does something publicly or creates something like it, unless they're being delusional, that is par for the course. You're going to catch some flack. But
right.
To your point, I think some of it's just been unfair and they've done a lot of great things. Okay. Ooh. As a follow-up, for people with young kids, ourselves included, their children are starting to say, hey, I want to pick up a phone. I want to film a video. I want to put myself online. What are some of the things you would caution parents against?
It's very heavily in this book because it's basically why I wrote it. I felt like a little bit of an obligation as a parent that's been through it with two of them, the most polarizing and controversial digital creators. I should put it out there because we didn't have a book. We didn't have like you say, Dr. Spock and all those books, that you can write them, but until you go through the experience yourself. Like, I'm not a PhD. I can't tell you all the effects of social media on the brain, but I can tell you from experience, which I think is really important. And I do think that every child nowadays, they do not want to be doctors and nurses and firemen and accountants, and they want to be either in the tech world or creators, digital creators, gamers, anything to be famous. And the internet and fame is very dangerous. I'm here to tell you, it's really hard on your mental health. My biggest thing for parents is, and especially your kids coming up, is you have to know who this is an age-old thing, right? Who they're hanging out with, who their influences are, who they're talking to online. It can't be behind closed doors. Oh yeah, you just go play your video games and, have it in front of you. Put time limits. Tell them what they can and can't do. Restrictions as they get older, contracts. You want this much time, to do your TikTok, or if you even want them to do that. Jake's advice would be just don't let your kids on social media. Logan has a much different perspective, but it's, you sign this contract. You get, I don't know, I'm making this up right at the moment, but you get all A's, you get this much time. I start to see your grades go down, your time on the internet's going to go down too. But those watchful eyes, it sounds really simple, but I know a lot of parents don't do it. Parents are busy. They have careers, moms, dads are working, trying to keep the house going. It's time consuming, but it's critical. It's literally critical because the mental health effects. You get bullied, you get harassed. You know, how do they take criticism? Like, even how do your own kids take criticism? If you're noticing that they're really, really a sensitive kind of person, you either need to nurture that in a different direction, or I wouldn't put them on, make your kid a, I don't know, what are the creator like that,
Yep.
As a child creator, it's too soon. It's not okay.
Well, I think it's interesting to talk to someone like yourself you were the first wave of parents that basically experienced their children growing up on social platforms. And before, when we were talking off air, my parents did not have to experience that because Lauren and I did not get social media and smartphones until we got out of college.
I was in a chat room, though, at 13, pretending to sext with guys as a joke with me and all my friends. Like, I
love this story.
I wasn't actually like sexting. I was pretending like I was using my words as a blogger before I was a blogger.
We had like AOL.
Yeah, I'd
chat
be like,
rooms.
I'm
That
so
was it.
hot for you, Bob.
Michael, what do you think about this?
Screw
The first
with, like,
time
all
you
these
heard
I was
this?
in those chat rooms too. Maybe I was
You were
Bob.
Bob?
I was Bob.
You were Bob. Okay.
No, but I mean, we had Jonathan Haidt on this podcast who wrote The Anxious Generation, and we've been talking about this subject. And I think I empathize with parents of your generation who were the first wave, who didn't even realize what these tools were and what they were. You kind of maybe figured it out. We now have built businesses on these. And I think I resonate with Jake in the way where he's saying, keep them off social media, because you learn what these tools are. And, sometimes Lauren and I will go and speak at schools and colleges. And what I always say to the students is like, are you using these things as a tool or as a blind consumer? And if you fall in the blind consumer lane, then you might want to think about that a little bit.
Cut your screen time
Yeah,
down.
because a lot of the people that we know that have made livings, they've learned how to really detach and use these for what they are, which is tools and connection points.
Correct.
But they're not sitting there mindlessly consuming all day long. And I think that's a really dangerous pit that people can fall into if they're not careful.
It really is. There's all this, comparison is the thief of joy type thing going on. Like, you can just lose yourself in thinking you're supposed to be this way, that way. I mean, we all can do it, even at my age. Like, oh my gosh, am I fit enough? Did I do my Pilates enough? Am I using the right makeup? You can get into that, and you have to. I love that you said that to the kids, because if you use it as a tool, it's amazing. It's really amazing, but it also can be really, really detrimental.
You mentioned grades earlier about straight A's. I have to ask this. Are moving forward, do you think that we should focus on grades?
No.
I know. This is like, I have this inner dialogue with myself where like, I don't really feel that I'm that concerned about grades. Is that bad as a parent?
No, it's not bad. You want them to do their personal best. And we had this issue in our house. Logan, 4.7 student.
Oh.
Loved school.
Wow.
Jake, class clown, could care less.
Yeah.
He didn't care. He was busy making jokes and videos, and the teachers criticized him. Why aren't you more like Logan? And he then took even a more negative view, right, towards school. He's lashed out against teachers even in the last few years. Like, And teachers still mention him in the school, I've been told. Mention Jake and Logan. So I go back to saying, have your child do what they can do best. Every child is different, and every child is communicated with different. I could say something to Logan that there's no way I could say that to Jake, and it's even today, or vice versa, because they take things in very differently. Logan can take all the criticism in the world. Jake internalizes it a little bit more, and it bothers him a little bit more.
It's so funny. We have the same kind of children. I know exactly what you're saying. You have to like almost make it more digestible for one child.
Right. I call it Jake speak and Logan speak.
Yeah.
And that's just how it is. And you have to learn to do that. And a lot of parents really don't. They treat all their kids the same. And, again, I'll go back to the grade thing. their dad was insisting that Jake couldn't play football unless he got B's. And I'm like, he's really good at football. He doesn't care about school. And I was the same way. I was a gymnast, could care less about school. I wanted to do my gymnastics and have my boyfriends and my friends. But so you can't put that restriction on every child. And I think that the whole school subject is a whole another beast, honestly, because it's like we're in a, I don't know, like we're being led around to do certain things that maybe a lot of kids don't learn like that.
If you could homeschool, knowing everything you know now, and when Jake and Logan have
schools
kids,
have changed too now.
Would you homeschool?
I don't know if I'm smart enough to homeschool.
Not you yourself. If you were you right now today with
I would send Logan to school and Jake homeschool.
So you would curate it for each child.
I would.
Yeah, and I to your, like, I was terrible in school. I was kicked out of
Never
all
seen
school.
worse.
Like
He's
probably
bad.
same thing. And
Very
I
bad.
never
I can relate.
cared about school.
Yep.
I was always social. I always was self-motivated. I've worked for myself since as long as I can remember.
Yep.
But I was terrible in school, and I was, every teacher telling my parents, "Oh, this guy's big problem. Never gonna make." My sister straight A's.
Right.
And so I always felt as a student like a little bit lost.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was being told all the time that I was no good,
Mhm.
right? And I think that in that environment, when I look back, if I see that happening to one of my kids, I'm like maybe it created some grit, but also was probably not great for the development.
It wasn't great for your development or your self-esteem because you might always question yourself. Am I good enough? Am I? But it does create a little bit of, I'm going to prove them wrong.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's kind of where the title comes from. Like when people say that, Logan and Jake, they both want to, and Jake even more, wants to prove that people are wrong. And so it can create that a little bit, but it's a fine line. I mean, telling kids that you're not going to succeed, and I just don't understand that concept. I understand positivity. And you have to, again, I go back to know how each of your children has a heart to take in what you say to them. You have to know how to do it.
As a family, you guys have obviously shared the divorce and obviously your very differing styles in raising the kids.
Mm-hmm.
Looking back, what would you change if you could change anything, or what would you tell parents now as it relates to raising their kids and thinking about different parenting styles?
So divorced or married, or because there is a difference, I feel like. Mm-hmm. I feel like I would not change anything because look where we are, yep. Right? And again, I used my faith to say God has a plan for us all and he executes it. We just do our best. I think that as divorced parents, it would have been nice. And of course, no one likes controversy, but our divorce was very, very bad in those first formative years of the kids' development. They were like 7 and 9. And I think that we could have done better if we had been a little bit more cohesive. We had the same goal for them, but we just handled it very different. But somehow the alchemy of both of our parenting led to where we are. I don't think it's bad that one parent's different than the other. Like I'm the softie, I'm the pushover more, and Greg was more the grit and the you're a man and this is what you have to do. And, he was much, much tougher on them. He was more physical with them. He was more verbal with them. And while I don't love that, I think that it's okay if your parents have different styles. I think you have to work together as parents, though. And that's where the issue comes in. Because if the parents aren't seeing and getting along, that's a problem. And you have to put your kids first.
Why was it rough? And I know you talk about this in the book, but why, looking back, if you could tell the audience a little bit about why it was rough in those formative years.
Because, again, I'm a pushover and very different, and I'm a much different person today than I was back then. And I let kind of Greg just walk all over me and walk all over us. And I finally had to get away from him to develop my own best self. Put your oxygen on first.
Yeah.
Right? So it's that type of thing. And I think that I don't have any proof of this, but I think by the age of 12, whatever your kids are kind of developing into is who their core being is going to be, and they're watching you. You know, your kids in young ages, they're watching how you two interact with each other.
My daughter is a reporter.
There you go.
She's 6. She's a reporter.
I love that.
I cannot get away with anything.
Right.
She is literally, I went to the bathroom the other day. I didn't even tell you this. And I was like on the phone going pee.
I love
to
the
bathroom.
reporter.
And I opened the door and the ear is to the door.
I'm not
Almost
surprised.
fell into the bathroom because she was leaning against the door. And I said to my dad, "Oh, the reporter's at the door." They are like, it's crazy too. Even the 3-year-old, they watch everything you do. It's a lot of pressure.
No, I think it's a
lot of pressure.
It's a good point, and we are lucky enough to speak to people like yourself and others on this show where it's a reminder. And I think sometimes, and you see this with some kids, like the kids reach a point of almost no return. It's like they're already set. By the time they're 15, 16, 17, like if they have these habits and these behaviors and these personalities, like it's going to be really difficult to change. But in these formative years, we talk about that a lot. Like even sometimes if we, like any marriage, if you start bickering or getting into some shit with each other, like we'll look at each other and say, okay, we got to.
It's always your fault though.
Yeah. I mean, you want to also show like healthy resolution with the kids, but it's something we think about a lot just because we're aware of it. And I think a lot of previous generations maybe just...
We weren't aware of it at all. We didn't have the internet to teach us a lot of this stuff either, right? So we didn't really know the kids were paying attention to that. And I think it brings me back to your other question, like the different households. When I got remarried to David, we've been married 21 years. He is the polar opposite of Greg. He's even opposite of me. He's calm, collected, cool, treats me like a queen. And we led by example.
He sounds dreamy.
He's dreamy.
Yeah.
So we tried to show them, because Greg is all talk. We just led by example. We didn't talk to, your kids don't listen, by the way, after a certain age.
I'm learning that.
Yeah. After a certain age, you're done. You can't, so you do your best. Like now, your kids are in that age. You do your best to be your best parents at this age, for sure.
This is a great question to ask their mother. What is something that you think is misunderstood about each of them separately?
Wow. There's a lot of things that are misunderstood. I think recently, Jake has dispelled this myth because of Utah and the Olympics and his reaction and how much it was really portrayed in the news and in the media and the outlets, that he has a huge heart. And I do think that Utah has helped people understand that. Just
because he got very emotional when she won.
Right. Plus he treats her so sweet. And she puts that on her Instagram too. And I think that's a myth. Like he gets in the boxing ring and he's like, acting like an idiot and making, his opponent mad and saying outrageous things. It's an act. It's a play. He is not like that when you meet him in person. He's lovely, adorable, huge heart, always wants to help other people. People don't understand that about him at all. Logan is a very strong, powerful personality. And I think what's out there in the world of him scamming people and taking advantage and not doing the right things, and I hate that word, but that's what, it is so far from the truth, and it's aggravating. It's really probably one of the things that aggravates me the most about what's being out there in the world today. He is everything he does it with passion, wants it to be perfect. Every business you start is not going to be like perfect. People don't understand that. They hear one thing and then everyone jumps on the bandwagon because the negative is way more fun to get involved in online, right? With these people. And people just build this up. Some of the myths about Prime, just not true. It's not, full of red dye colors or whatever they're out there saying. It's just those myths really get me because Logan has put his heart and soul behind certain things. And so that myth is so far from the truth. It's
Pam is going to tell you guys the truth here.
I'm going to tell you the truth.
You know what's interesting too about them? To me, you would think that they would be womanizers because of all the fame and the riches that they have. And it seems to me that they're actually pretty monogamous.
Yes. So, yeah, I'm sure they went through their phases when I was not there. And, but I was there a lot.
It seems like they got it out of their system.
They did.
It's not like they're like going to be 50 and single and a womanizer.
Right.
They could be.
Yeah, but they could be.
Yeah.
They have women probably throwing, all right, I don't want to make anybody mad, but, and so do their females, because they're also beautiful, people.
It's going to be some pretty grandkids.
Yes. Well, I have a very beautiful granddaughter, Esme. Yes, she's so darn cute. I can't. I'm starting to shake because I haven't seen her since Christmas.
Oh.
I'm like, but between the Olympics and the book and traveling around, and it's just been really hard. But having said that, they want a wife, children, and a family. And that makes me so happy because they witnessed what can happen if a marriage doesn't work out. And I'm not saying everybody's is going to be perfect. Who knows what's going to happen? But they really, really want that deep down in their heart.
That's so interesting. Michael has been off air having an opinion on that. I think maybe...
What's my opinion?
Just you have talked about how... I don't know how to say this the right way. You respect monogamy.
So here's the thing. Like and there's a lot of these things going viral lately where it's like there's a lot of single men without children that reach older age giving a lot of advice to young people like self-optimization and sleep habits and financial literacy. And it's kind of like, when all you have to think about is you, like, to be honest, it's not that hard.
It's not.
Like if all I had to do each day was wake up and like put a couple coins in the bank and work and take care of my body and sleep good and maybe go on a date or two, like it sounds like a pretty easy life. I think a harder thing that I respect as I get older and build my own family and businesses, like it's a much harder thing, and I think much more rewarding to build a family, build a life, take care of, like raise children. And so listen, to each their own, but I think like I respect when I see people that have had a lot of success kind of get their priorities right.
Right.
And it's like, for your sons, I'm sure they could go and make a few extra dollars and they could get a few extra eyeballs, but I think a harder thing is to stay disciplined, settle down, build a family, build a life, and like and stay monogamous. Like so
they're disciplined, they're resilient, and they work harder than everyone else in the room. And that's like an easy statement to say, but they really, really, really do. They are always, always working. And I think on the monogamy end, it's probably not been easy, but that's what they want. They want that strong relationship. And I'd love to say, and I hope that has come from me, because
Claim it.
I am not the, TMI. Like I'm monogamous, 2 people my whole life.
Oh, wow. So you heard it here first.
My body count is pretty low, and I really think...
so I'm sure your sons are happy, but that's the headline.
Yeah,
Pam's body count
Listen,
is
boys,
low.
two body count per mom, that's pretty good.
Yeah, your sons are like, yes.
One was dad, one was new dad. That's pretty good.
They do know this, and I think I know they like that. I do. I know. I've heard them like talk about like, that girl. Oh, she's that. It's too much. It's too much. I can't do it. So I know that's important. Logan didn't tell you to ask me that, right?
No, he did not.
Towns and Bond, my body count is not 1. I'm sorry to break it to you, Michael's not only my body count.
Yeah, but it's under 10, right?
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
That's still pretty good.
I caught her early.
You did catch me early.
She was the numbers were going to start like, I don't know, the numbers were starting to creep up. So
no, I was never. Listen, fuck who you want. I was never slutty.
No.
Ever.
There you go.
I was not a slutty.
There you have it.
I kind of wish I was slutty.
I kind of wonder what I missed.
My slut face.
Yeah, I missed the slut face.
Yeah,
too.
I was a little slutty for a period, but
good. Get it out. Get it out of your system.
No, but I guess what
everywhere.
I think. I think to your like it's just I guess like to round it out, as I grow and as I look to examples, and of the examples I want my sons to look to is I want them to look to different men that potentially could have it all, but choose to be disciplined and choose to be honorable and choose to kind of live in a way that I think is
not gluttonous.
Yeah, and because again, like I think it's a much easier thing to just kind of
Slide into bitches' DMs and
Yeah.
get their dick sucked.
Slide into bitches'
but I think sometimes
That's fantastic.
and listen,
It's
there's-
really easy to do
I
that,
can
right?
say that in
No.
front of Logan and Jake's mom.
And there's-
Yes,
Okay.
you can say
Okay.
anything in front of me.
And
Trust
there's-
me, they tell me everything.
There's a
I know
lot
these
of
things.
there's a lot of men right now, I think, taking advantage of young men, giving them messages that I think will lead the majority of those young men astray, right? Like a lot of the people kind of preaching, make all this fast money and be with all these women. I was like, the majority of men, that's just not going to happen for.
Right.
And one day you're going to look around and you're say, wait a minute, I'm 40, 50 years old and I haven't settled down and I don't have a family and I like have wasted a lot of my life away.
Right. And you're by yourself. I can't even imagine being alone. Like, I don't understand that at all. Like, good or bad, try to make something work. I mean, work towards it and having relationships. That's what life's all about.
Yeah, not to mention as you get older, like there's so many, it's so hard to just build a business, build a family, raise good kids.
Mm-hmm.
If every day you're with a different person, like that kind of stress just seems.
Yeah, that's not good.
You know what I'm wearing right now? You can see it live on YouTube, or you can just listen to my voice. I am wearing the Steady State Super Loft, deliciously buttery Lululemon sweater. It's built with super loft fabric, so it's really soft on the outside and brushed fleece on the inside. Let me tell you, it's a little rainy here in Austin right now, and wearing this sweater from the gym to the office is perfect. It's one of those hoodies that just fits right. It flatters you. I feel like it's perfect to layer over a workout set or even come to work and do a podcast in. It's comfortable, it's chic, it's elevated, it's gorgeous. You have to check out the Steady State Super Loft sweater on Lululemon. I've been a Lululemon fan since I was in high school. I used to work actually right next door to Lululemon. I worked at a little boutique, and after work, I would go and I would spend my paycheck at Lululemon. So it's very full circle for me to be wearing Lululemon in the studio. I'm a huge fan of their leggings. I feel like they're flattering. They hold you in. They also have like an Easy 5 pant. This is a sustainable structured pant with just the right stretch. It's perfect. Feels broken in the best way. And there's no like stiff break-in period. But if you're looking to get one piece from their new collection, you've got to check out this hoodie. It's so good. I got mine in black, as you can see if you're watching. Lululemon looks great and lasts. You can feel the first time you put it on, and you can feel it 6 months later. I love this brand because it washes well. Do you know what I mean? Like sometimes you wash something and it doesn't look the same. With Lululemon, the quality of the fabric stays, which we love. So if you want the sweater that I'm wearing, go check them out. Here's the thing you need to know though. Lululemon does limited color runs, okay? So when these new styles drop every Tuesday, they go fast. You don't want to wait. If it's not for you, Lululemon offers free returns, no risk. That's lululemon.com. New drops every Tuesday. Go now. Lululemon.com. I am a colostrum fan. You guys know this. And I had the founder of Armra Colostrum on the podcast. I actually give my kids a spoonful of colostrum a day. We eat it raw, okay? We just put it in our mouth and we eat it. And when we go for a pure colostrum, we go for Armra. It is absolutely amazing. The benefits are insane. Strengthen immune health, fortified gut health, healthy metabolism. It supports your hair health. There's 400 bioactive nutrients that work together at a cellular level to ignite inside-out transformation for whole body benefits. This includes hair, skin, gut, and more. Also skin health. It's amazing for skin and fueled performance recovery. Armra Colostrum has you covered, okay? It's beautiful packaging. It's not just a supplement, ingredient, or superfood. They're a bioactive whole food company. It's not a formula. It's not processed. It's pure, potent, natural, and clean colostrum. So it's 4 daily scoops. You do 4 daily scoops. Everyone in my family does 4 daily scoops. Super simple, super easy. And we have a special offer for all Bostic listeners. Receive 30% off your first subscription order. Go to armra.com/skinny or enter code skinny to get 30% off your first subscription order. That's armra.com/skinny. armra.com/skinny. I found the most gorgeous plaid baby blue row trench, and I found it on the Real. They don't sell it anymore. I had to stock the Real Real. I finally found it. I'm so excited about it. You may have seen it on my Instagram stories. I'll post it again too. And it's absolutely gorgeous. You guys were asking me where I got it to affiliate link it, and I can't because I got it on resale at the Real Real. I go to the Real Real for all things resale. So they drop over 10,000 new arrivals every day. They have brands like Gucci, Fendi, Prada, The Row, and Cartier. So some of these pieces are up to 90% off retail, which is so crazy. And they're rigorous about authenticating things. So you know it's the real real. You see what I did there? They have a luxury team of experts, so it's resale you can trust. I also sell my clothes on the Real Real. It's the easiest way to sell. So they do everything for you, from copywriting to photography to shipping, pricing, customer service. They make it seamless for you so you can sit back and get paid. With over 40 million fashion lovers on The Real Real, your items will sell fast. Let me tell you, mine do. The Real Real is the most trusted name in authenticated luxury resale. With over 10,000 new arrivals daily, no one does resale like The Real Real. And now get $25 off your first purchase when you go to therealreal.com/skinny. That's therealreal.com/skinny to get $25 off. Start shopping now at therealreal.com/skinny. I am very into a ballet flat. I think it's chic, it's simple, it's easy. You just throw it on with some jeans. It elevates an outfit. And I have found a ballet flat that's absolutely adorable. So you can go to Sam Edelman, okay? And it's a classic ballet flat. It's called the Felicia Ballet Flat. And it's a bestseller. They have all different colors. So I got the black, but they also have like a French sand leather. And then they have like almost a silver. It's kind of chrome. But I'm into the black because I wear a lot of little cardigans when I podcast and I like to be comfortable. And a ballet flat hits all the things. It's classic, it's chic, it's elevated. It keeps it simple. I can slide it on. This one has a little bow on it. It's adorable. You can celebrate with Sam because they have a shoe for every occasion, designed for every step of the season, from the aisle to the after party and beyond. And for me, for the studio. They also have the Hazel Pump, which is precise and timeless. They have the Alley Ballet Flat, which I've talked about before. I like this if you're just throwing something on to go to the office. It's a refined option for in-between moments. And then they also have tons of sandal options. Each pair defines a moment. Beyond footwear, Sam Edelman extends into complete expression of style, pieces that frame the look with intention and ease. For every entrance, every setting, every celebration, Sam Edelman has you covered. Definitely check out the Felicia Ballet Flat. I like the black, like I said. The Alley Ballet Flat is really elegant too. Visit them at samedelman.com to explore everything you need for spring and get 15% off with code SKINNY15. That's samedelman.com, code SKINNY15. How has your son's discipline rubbed off on you as their mother?
Wow. That's the first question or time I've ever been asked that question. How, when it has helped me write my book because it was, and vlog. When I started vlogging, Jake is like, Mom, I think you'd be really funny. You should try it. I'm like, wow, I need to bust out of my playing tennis and I don't know, cleaning the house. And I need to do something grander. And so I did. And that helped me to develop something new that I would never step out of your comfort zone, take a risk. And that's how the book came about too. Like, yeah, anyone could say, yeah, I should write a book. This is a great story. But to actually buckle down and do it, it took discipline. And I watch them and they amaze me. I mean, they really do. Sometimes I just sit back and I listen to them like on a podcast or at a business meeting talking at colleges. And I am like, wow, I'm so impressed. And it's not, I don't feel like it has anything to do with me. I was just seriously blessed with kids who have learned and taken it all in and processed it and made it into something. So I'm taking more risks. I don't know if that answered your question, but I'm stepping outside of my comfort zone. I've always been pretty disciplined. I mean, I'm a nurse. I went through schooling and stayed on track and wasn't a slut. And, I'm pretty disciplined. So I have that, and it runs in our family, I guess, but seeing them take risks. So why not do it myself?
My dad better answer that question the same. My dad and my stepmom. what are the disciplines that you've seen from a micro level through them? Meaning, like, are they waking up at a certain time? Like, what are the little things that you see for our audience that are tangible that you can't believe they do?
Well, I think some of it is still the manifestation process.
Ah, I love this. I know you're a big manifester.
I'm a big
I researched
manifester.
you. Let's talk about that.
I'm a big manifester. My dad taught me, I taught them. They've taken it to new heights and new levels. And I think it's, Jake gets up in the morning, this one example, when he's in Puerto Rico and he's, honed in, right? Camp for fighting or whatnot, whatever he's doing. But he goes outside, he looks up to the sky, stands real tall and erect. He looks up into the sun. He gets his vitamin D. He starts doing some of his breath work and then goes through that ritual of mindfulness, which I definitely have much harder time being the meditating, and doing that type of thing. Sitting in red light therapy in his hyperbaric chamber and all that takes a lot of discipline and calmness in the breath work. Because Jake has an anxiety issue. He has a lot of anxiety, which I can see why their lives they lead, And Logan is a little more carefree, I think, like right when he gets up. But they do, and that has changed since having a baby. Obviously, you're getting up a lot earlier. But it's spending time with his family and that's just so wonderful to see. But Logan is constantly working, which actually can be annoying when you're with him, is on his phone taking care of this and that and this and that and these and those and doing this and that. But he also can multitask, which amazes me. I don't know how he does it. I don't know if it's a good thing, but he does it all well. So those are like two things. I hopefully answered your question.
Yeah, you did.
That kind of are like, wow, that's pretty impressive and pretty incredible.
What would Nina and Yuta, is that how you pronounce her name?
Yuta. Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. How would they describe you as a mother-in-law?
Fantastic. I'm lovely.
I could see that.
Really
Your
good.
energy is really good.
Oh, thanks. And I think they feel that way. I'm sure there's times when they've been mad at me about something who isn't going to be, but I think I'm very blessed with my kids are mama's boys, and I think the girls recognize that and they like that.
Play that clip for my daughter-in-law.
There you go. Because how your boys treat their mom, how they're going to treat you, is really important. If I would have looked at that before I married Greg, we might had a different story. Not that I'm glad this didn't happen, because it did. But if your sons treat their moms well, their mom well, hopefully that the girls that they choose are going to like that and not be jealous of it. And I don't insert myself. If I'm asked, I will. But I am not that mom that's nagging over the boys and trying to get their attention away from the women. I am like supportive of those relationships. And I think the girls appreciate that. That's a great question. And I'd love to ask them.
Switching lanes a bit, you mentioned earlier that a lot of kids these days, they don't aspire to be engineers or pilots or fire. They aspire to be creators.
Yep.
What is something after experiencing fame as a family and for your children that you would caution people against? Maybe, like we glamorize that kind of attention, but some things that you guys have had to navigate as a family as the platforms have grown.
Well, it's definitely not all glamorous. There are so many wonderful sides to it, but there's also so many pitfalls and dangers out there. And I think I would prioritize, like I said before, and I'm going to say it again because it's really important, is the mental health aspect. Are you able to be consistent, to be disciplined, to be resilient? And you as parents or anyone else's parents who have kids that are talking like they want to do this, I think it's up to the parents to look at that child and say, yeah, they have what it takes, or you know what, they don't. And if they don't have what it takes, you have to be very strategic in how you steer them away, like into something else. And I can't think of an example maybe right now, but all right, you might not want to go on camera and start talking because people are going to make fun of your pimples or your funny hair or whatever. Well, maybe you say, but you like music? Let's try music as a outlet type thing and give them different options, because mental health and faith, I think, are really, really key, and especially in today's world. So I would also ask them if they think they could see themselves doing it, any kind of thing, whether it's gaming or, having a podcast. Can you see yourself doing that forever?
Yeah, well, your sons have reached a level that it's not possible to turn it off now, right? Like,
correct.
And we talk about this all the time. There's different levels where, maybe you get a little bit of attention, but it's not so much where if you like decided, hey, this isn't for me, you could step back. But if you go too far with it, not in a bad way, but like if you reach the level your sons have, like there's no turning back. So then the rest of your life, if you're out, you're being scrutinized, people are taking pictures, people are coming up to you, people are commenting on your family, on your marriages, on your children. There's no way around it.
Right.
And so I think about that a lot, because for children especially that maybe look to a platform like that and say, hey, that's for me, like it comes with a cost. And to your point, there's a lot of great things, but
it's a cautionary tale for sure. And I think you just made me think of something. As parents, point that out. Take someone like Jake or like Logan, or I don't know what other good examples there are, but
the Kardashians. Anybody.
I was going to say that, but I left it to you guys. Yeah. But it's true. Look at all the scrutiny that they all get. Like, we have been compared to that family in a different level. Like, we're not the wealthy Kardashians. We're
you guys are doing okay.
We're doing all right.
We're doing all right. But look at that. Like, show them the example and go, just remember, think about this as you get older. Is this what you want? Your privacy is gone. It's out the window. And so Greg and I have kind of decided to embrace that rather than hide from it.
Yeah.
A lot of parents of kids that are in the spotlight, no matter if it's an actor or musician, that you don't see them out there on social media. They're in hiding. We're more outgoing, and we've decided to kind of embrace it. And I think part of that was the HBO show. We didn't really have a choice. We kind of had to go along with it. And I don't mean we were forced. We were like, and we embraced it. We said, okay, we're already out there. Let's just put it all out there. Let's be real transparent and show people that not everything is hunky-dory.
Yeah,
because it's not.
I think we live in a time now where, fortunately, the person has a bit more control, meaning like, we talk to a lot of celebrities that maybe came up in the 80s and 90s on this show or before. And they were really at the mercy of a lot of publications and tabloids, and they didn't really have a mouthpiece to answer. Right. Now, I think a lot of people can't. Like, you can get on your own podcast and answer, but so there's that. But yeah, I look at a lot of some of those people, to your point, and I'm like, man, that's a lot. Can't go out anywhere without just.
It's debilitating. Logan, I feel like deals with it a little bit differently. I don't think, they have security.
Of course, you have to.
Right? Jake can't go anywhere, anywhere. They do love Puerto Rico for that, though, a bit, because it is a little bit more toned down and people are a little calmer, and where they live, like, a lot of people have a lot of things. And so they don't look at Jake and Logan as, but then they still kind of do, but they don't bug them about it. And they don't come up to him and constantly, want to take pictures and this and that. Another thing about Jake and Logan is, though, they truly adore their fans, and they will always stop if they can and embrace the fans and take pictures. They're never like some of those celebrities you see, or I've seen professional athletes just be awful to people. They're so much better. They don't come across as so much better than their fans.
Who was Shia LaBeouf just attacking the other day? Mike Piazza. Did you see that? There was a clip of him because Shia LaBeouf just did this show. Okay. And he said Mike Piazza, he would go out to the stadium for like 90 different times trying to get Mike Piazza's autograph. He wouldn't give it to him. It was going by. Yeah. No, and same, like, on our platform, like, if people that we meet, like, that's kind of the reason you want to do it. You want to connect with people. But I think you reach a certain point and security and all, you have people that are maybe bad actors that are coming for the wrong reasons. And it's scary.
It is a little bit scary. And, it hasn't happened, knock on wood, too, a little here and there. But most people who are yelling F the balls, if they actually see them in person, they're like, hey, can I get a pic? Hey, or if you answer them back, yeah, that's right. And then they just laugh. And and they're in person. They're fans. Haters are actually really kind of fans in disguise in a way.
It's a fine line.
It's a very fine line.
Starbucks baristas know their communities. That's why every year, Starbucks baristas can nominate local nonprofits to receive grants, with more than 16,000 grants awarded to local organizations so far. So how Starbucks supports communities is led by people in those communities. Because at Starbucks, making an impact together is just the start. Learn more at starbucks.com/partners.
Are you someone that wants to have healthier hair, skin, nails, lean muscle, and a stronger metabolism? Well, I want that too, which is why I take Kion Aminos every single day. I love Kion Aminos. We have had the founder of Kion on this podcast so many times. And here's the thing. This has become an everyday staple that we take every single day, no matter what. So many people talk about protein and fiber and all these things, but are you getting the essential amino acids that your body needs? Likely not, which is why we love talking about Kion. We think they are the best aminos on the market. They have all 9 of the essential amino acids, and the formula is based on 30 years of peer-reviewed clinical research. There's so many players in this space, but this is the brand that we trust. It's 1 scoop in water and done. I personally take 3 scoops a day. Every single time I work out, I put a scoop in my water with a little bit of creatine, and then throughout the day, I'm also enhancing my water with a couple more scoops. I love this because it keeps me full. It keeps my metabolism ignited. It helps me with easy daily protein support and, of course, faster recovery. So like I said, many people are talking about protein and they're talking about fiber and all these things, but you need to also get the essential amino acids, and we love taking the Kion product to do that. There's no caffeine or stimulant feel. This is not a buzzy pre-workout. It supports whole body energy without the jitters, and it tastes great. My personal favorite is the mango flavor, but there's also 3 other flavors to choose from. It's a clean formula, sugar-free, third-party tested, non-GMO, and vegan. And like I said, we really trust the person behind it. Angelo, the founder of Kion, has been on this show. So if you're looking for lean muscle, that tone sculpted look, Kion Aminos are going to help you get there. Like I said, we take it every single day. Our kids take it, we take it, and it's become a daily supplement that we rely on. So check them out. Go to getkion.com/skinny for 20% off. That's getkion.com/skinny. Quick break to talk about function. I've been thinking a lot about inflammation lately, especially if I start to feel slow or have a bad night's sleep or just feel a little bit stressed after a tough training block, just noticing that my energy and focus can be off whenever I feel inflamed. And what surprised me is that inflammation can be something you don't feel until it's already doing damage. That's what makes testing so important. We all know that inflammation causes all sorts of problems in the body, and you don't want to wait until it's too late. Because here's what most people don't know. Chronic inflammation is one of the root drivers behind heart disease, metabolic dysfunction, and accelerated aging. And it's largely silent. You won't feel it until it has already begun building for years. Here's the 3 markers I pay most attention to. HSCRP, which is one of the most clinically validated early warning signals for systematic inflammation. Even small elevations matter. Glucose, which we've talked about on the show, and insulin, because blood sugar dysregulation and inflammation fuel each other in a cycle most people never break. And vitamin D, because low levels are consistently linked to higher inflammatory activity throughout the entire body. And that's why I use Function. It tracks 160 plus lab tests every year so I can actually see my inflammation markers, my metabolic health, and dozens of other systems. And it doesn't just guess at them. If something is trending in the wrong direction, I want to know before it becomes a real problem. That's what owning your health actually looks like. We live in a time now where this technology exists, and you can do so much to prevent problems in your body and with your overall health. So check them out. Check your health the way I do. 160 plus lab tests a year for $365, plus the ability to dive deeper into your results with Function's trusted connections to platforms you already use like ChatGPT and Claude. Join at www.functionhealth.com/skinny or use code skinny25 for a $25 credit toward your membership. Again, that's functionhealth.com/skinny, gift code skinny25.
Eden Rock St. Bart's times the Skinny Confidential. This collaboration has been years in the making. I have been going to Eden Rock properties for a very long time, and I fell in love with the way that they thought about branding. Every single detail, they don't miss anything. It's such an experience. And when I thought about what brand I wanted to collaborate with, Eden Rock immediately came to mind. So we went down to St. Bart's and we sat with their team and we conceptualized what this collaboration would look like. And so it's here. After a year and a half, it is live. The Eden Rock St. Bart's times Skinny Confidential red ice roller. It's in their signature red. It has a gorgeous, look at this. Silver roller. It's so beautiful. It's very summer, you know? I could see this in an ice bucket while you're on the beach enjoying some rosé or a margarita. Goes right in the ice. And then we also launched mouth tape. So it's red too. So you're going to get those red lips, very summer-esque. And again, it's in the Eden Rock St. Bart's branding. And then we launched facial towels. Everything is limited edition. It's very exclusive. Once it's gone, it's gone. And these facial towels are plastic free. They don't have any formaldehyde in them. And they're so adorable to throw in your beach bag. I use them to wipe my kids' hands. I use them after an oil cleanse. This collection is so major. I'm so excited about it. And it's so fun to see the Skinny Confidential come to life in red. You can shop our collaboration at the link in the show notes or on shopskinnyconfidential.com. And if you're at the Eden Rock St. Bart's property, you can also shop at the Eden Rock St. Bart's boutique and the spa. Eden Rock St. Bart's, wherever you are. Where is your relationship with your ex, Greg, now, today?
Great. I could call him right now and say, and he hasn't said a word about the book, nothing about any of the backlash out there over it. He hasn't said a word. I don't know if he's just trying to ignore it.
Greg, let's get a selfie with you with the book.
Yeah,
Come
let's
on.
do that. I've wanted to, but I didn't know. I actually was going to give him a signed copy, but Logan's like, I don't know if that's the right time to do that. And I'm like, but I should. It's about him too. So despite all the past, we can still come together. Recent couple of incidents, we've come together and we've been on the phone an hour and a half.
Are we doing Thanksgiving together?
Yes, we've done Thanksgiving together. I mean, I think Paul American kind of, that's why.
Softened it.
But we is Nina, to her credit, was like, look, you have one grandkid, and if you both want to come to Christmas, both come to Christmas. I'm not doing Christmas over here and Christmas over there. It's about our grandkid, and I'm all for that. I think Greg has a little bit more trouble with that, but he's learning and he's settling down. He's getting older. And I think he's realizing that he's going to have to cooperate if he wants to be cohesive. And I've always wanted that. My parents had a very nasty divorce, but at the end, we did all Christmases and birthdays together, and their spouses liked each other, and everybody ended up being friends. And I think that's really important. And I do believe that we are very still much a family. I still consider Greg a family. I don't know what he does, but I promote that. So hopefully that just resonates and keeps resonating with them. We do still want the same thing for the boys.
You have 2 children together.
Yeah, and we still worry about them the same way.
Before you go, you have to tell us why you crossed off Paul.
That was Logan's idea.
She crossed off Paul on the book.
That was definitely Logan's idea because it's funny.
Yeah, I think it
comical.
is too.
And just the whole thing is so creative and eye-catching that, if you walked past a book and it was that on the shelf versus don't read the comments, which was what I was going to name it, what are you going to do? You're going to look at that and pick it up and see what it's about.
You know how I'm going to make you pose with me and Michael, right? After this?
With giving the finger? I don't...
The exact same thing.
Oh, the exact same way.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. Let's see which one I have to be. I have to be, I think I have
Who's
to
taller?
be Jake because of my good side.
She wants to pick a side.
Okay, that's
So,
good. Yeah.
After writing the book, what do you hope the main takeaways are for the book? What do you hope people get out of it?
I think I like the fact, I'll go back to my toolboxes about manifestation, about faith, about listening to your kids, not letting your fear get in the way, realizing that success isn't final and failure isn't fatal. That's just so important. And I think taking care of yourself as individuals, as parents, is really, really important. I know you guys are into fitness and take, the supplements and skincare. And I love that. I mean, I'm so into that. And I play tennis and do Pilates. And I didn't put that as much in the book. However, if I do a sequel, it's going to definitely come back up. But I want people to take care of themselves, and I want them to really, the generation of kids, yours and coming up, they need a lot of attention. You would think not because of the little box that they do. They need a lot of attention. And if you don't give it to them, guess where they're going to turn?
I've heard a parent say this the other day, that when your kids become teenagers, they'll like shut the door on your face, and you go to their room and you try to connect with them and they'll shut the door on your face. And what the parent says, well, you have to keep coming back. Even though they shut the door, you have to keep coming back. And that kind of gets through to them.
Absolutely. And I again, my kids never did that with me. They were never disrespectful.
I will take the door off the wall.
That is what their dad would do.
They will not have
done.
a door if they do that.
You can't let them do that. That's just disrespectful, and you take the door off. That's perfect.
You'll
no
take
locks.
the door off.
Take the door off.
I don't
no
love
door.
that aesthetic though, but we'll work
it
with
would be
something.
temporary because they're going to learn,
Okay.
and you can even make deals with
Maybe
them.
a
All right,
curtain.
I'll let you shut the door, while you're getting dressed. I'll let you, but you're not going to get on your phone or the internet behind closed doors. What are you sneaking around in there? Like my kids weren't. I laughed at your podcast. We're talking about the food in the bed.
Oh yeah. What do you do? Food in the bed?
No,
Why?
my kids weren't even allowed to bring a glass of water upstairs.
Butter toast every night in the bed.
No, I sit there. I'm
crunchy salt.
wiping the bed.
I laughed so hard.
I love to eat in the bed. There's actually, what is a better pleasure than sitting in bed with a tray,
We had a
eating
friend-
with your magazine and your show?
See, I don't like that.
We had a
I need
friend
to
of
be.
ours-
I stand up to eat half the time.
Same. I think it's
Bad
actually
for your digestion.
No, I
I
actually
think
think
it's
it's
good
good
for
to
you.
be sitting. Yeah, I think it's good for you too.
Yeah.
We had a friend the other day. I won't say who, but they sent us a picture of their bedroom, and it's two big beds next to each other, so they're still co-sleeping.
Same room,
but they have their
co-sleeping. They can
own-
jump from bed to bed.
Yeah, and they have their own set of sheets and
It sounds like
blankets. And I was like,
fun.
maybe if you want to do that, then you can have your own crummy bed, and I'll have the clean one. That's-
Right.
I'm fine to just make sure it's a Houston mattress.
There
I
you
want
go.
I want the best mattress, creme de la creme. Don't put some shitty mattress next to it.
Well, we'll figure it
Right.
out. Yeah, so
Figure that
that could be a
out.
solution because I can't stand those.
Where
crumbs in
can
the bed.
everyone find you, Pam, to say hi, pimp yourself out? Where's your book
Paint
available?
myself out. So currently it's on Amazon.com. I also have a website, fthepauls.com, and it will also, it's my landing page for the book, and it will take you to Amazon. There's audio, which I don't promote. I mean, a lot of people gravitate towards audio. I didn't realize this.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because I'm one of those people that picks up the book in the airport or the bookstore. I still love it. But it's on audio, it's on ebook, and currently in Amazon. We'll see if I do bookstores. I don't know.
Congratulations on your book, on your
Thank you.
sons, on your
you so
granddaughter, on everything. You must feel so fulfilled.
I am very fulfilled. I'm very blessed. I'm very fortunate, full of gratitude, attitude with gratitude and positivity. And I'll stress that at the end of this is we all have to remain positive because we are in a crazy world. So
Well, thank you for making the trip. We got to thank Lucas Mack for setting this up.
Thank you,
Lucas.
Lucas.
Lucas, you got to come
Love
on
you.
yourself too.